Welcome everybody to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show, trying to make sense of this crazy Arizona market. And I saw a headline nationally that said sales are the lowest in 13 years. So I thought, well, let's see what that means for us. How low are our sales, and when was the last time we were this slow? Very interesting market. I thought things were really going to be a lot slower the past few weeks. As you know, I've kind of been out of pocket, and I'm watching headlines and thinking, man, when I start diving into data, it's not going to look good. And I was kind of surprised that new listings are the same as new contracts, because I measure the gap between the two. If we got a lot more new listings than we do new contracts, well, you know what's next. Prices are going down. If they're kind of coming in at the same level, there's not a lot that's going to happen, and they're tit for tat, just 100%, just same number of new listings as new contracts. So I was surprised at that. I was kind of pessimistic, thinking things were really going to be sliding, and haven't seen it yet. But it is true, lowest sales in 13 years. For us, it's worse than that. Take a look at this chart. We go all the way back to 2007. I'll remove last year. Here's our pending sales in this green line here. And here's 2007, which is one of the lowest years we've ever had. And that's where we're at. Even 2006, that was kind of when things were kind of hectic and frantic. 2008, when everything collapsed, sales were still higher because, investors were coming in and scooping up all the distressed properties. But you can see that overall in 2007, they were pretty low, and that's where we're at. And we are just scraping along just like last year. So no surprise there. We're not moving much one way or the other. We're just seasonally staying with what our sales records are and matching last year. Now, here's some nominal dollars that most people don't use. And it's a pretty long article here in the Cromford Report talking about the difference between median price sales and average price sales. And they're saying, don't use average, use median price per square foot. Seems to be the most accurate, especially if you've got a market where this segment's selling a lot. This segment isn't selling much, but it's really expensive. So you can sell two of those homes and it throws off the average sales price dramatically. So using median sales price per square foot is probably the most accurate way to get a reading. Bit of an eye chart here, not too bad. We're looking at what the peak is. Now, for the most of our market, the peak was in May of 2022. For other markets and other types of homes like patio homes and twin homes, they peaked like in 2024, if you can believe it or not. So you got a peak. Let's just say the peak is off 2022. And we look at that, single family attached is now down 9.87 off of that peak. Those are the real numbers, folks. Median average sales price per square foot. Townhomes down 13.6. Apartment style, these are condos, down 22.6. They're getting the crap kicked out of them. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to get a lot worse. And I'm going to tell you at the end of this video why I think that's the case. Gemini twin homes down 20%. Mobile manufacturing, there's not that many of those out there, down 18. Patio homes down 16.7 from their peak, which is 2024, not 2022. And I will be coming back to address condos in just a moment. This is our eye chart here that says the average CMI is up 1.8% from last month. You can get this in my weekly newsletter if you subscribe. The link below, I send it out every Monday morning. This is more favorable to sellers than last week, but it's all due to the expensive end of the market where active listings are reduced for the summer, but demand remains healthy. In the upper end, demand remains healthy. Not everywhere else. Chandler's still doing well. Scottsdale, Cave Creek, Phoenix, not too bad. The number of cities moving in a direction favorable to buyers is even once again. So is it a buyer's market? There are some improvements out there, but there's some parts of the city where you're not going to get the bargain you're hoping for, and there's others you might be surprised. Here's the monthly average sales price per square foot overall, all price ranges. You can see we kind of went up here June of 2026, and then we're down here at August 26. And if we take a look here, this is actually notice of trustee sales for a month. Spiked up a couple months ago and kind of staying there. We're at 496. On average, that's kind of where we've been. Do we have more coming? I don't know. But we watch it. We track it. Do I forecast it? Nope. Here we are. percent of closing costs with seller concessions. Now, if you're selling your home, you're going to have to give some stuff up. You have to help them with their closing costs. Maybe you want to help them with a rate buy down. Because guess what? Your competition out there, 56.7% of all home sales right now, giving something up. You're seeing some tricks out there where somebody will take a listing, they'll raise the price so that they can offer more concessions. In some markets, that's working. In some markets, it's not. But if you're going to list your house, don't ignore this. You're going to have to participate. If you're listing your house and you're not willing to offer any concessions, you're going to be holding that listing for a while. That's just the way we are. And we're at a peak. We've got more of that going on now than we've had for years. So it's a fact. That's where we're at. And here's part of the reason right there. Our mortgages are 6.71. Remember all the 4 to 6 rate cuts we were supposed to have? Marry the house, date the rate. Nope. I never liked that. I like certainty. 6.71. Are rates going up? Are they going down? You can do some digging and you can find an argument either way. I don't know. The bond market's kind of telling us that no, that they're going to go up. The mortgage market is telling us, well, they might come down, but it's hard to tell. Here's price cuts by week, by day. It's interesting. You can see this little pink number here. Majority of our price cuts are on a Friday. So if you're looking at MLS listings on Thursday, go back and address it Friday morning because that's when the majority of the price cuts come in. Like this last Friday, 459. On Saturday, 365. People like to reduce their price before the weekend. That's a given. It's always been that way. So again, when you're looking in the MLS, take a look at the homes on Thursday. If you're getting ready to tour on the weekend, go back and check on Friday and see which ones have reduced their price. That's the way the market is. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what's going on with condos. It's more to do with condo financing. There's some rule changes coming on. As you know, they've been requesting a lot of stuff to make a condo certifiable. In other words, they want to see the deferred maintenance logs and activity for condos. And that was really throwing financing for a loop. We had a hard time getting those numbers. You know, the condo associations were just dragging their feet. So all closings were at a minimum 2 weeks late. Well, they're about to get worse because right now they're demanding not everybody. Now there's workarounds with this. So get with your lender and discuss this before you list your condo. There's financing options out there that can help you to avoid what's coming down the road, which is where the majority of condos get financed. That's FHA, VA, and some conventional. But they have to have at least 10% in reserves currently. September 1st, that number jumped up to 15%. Now you're not going to be able to raise your number in reserves 5% very quick without dinging everybody with a special assessment. So condo associations are going to have to provide this number. If they're not 15%, you're not getting the financing. The other interesting thing I saw in the regulations is they also want the meeting minutes from the association. What a train wreck that is, going through and reading all the minutes from the meeting. What's that going to tell you? Are they discussing, well, when's the next time we need to paint? Sally said too many people are hanging out in her front yard. It's just meeting minutes associations. I don't get that, but we're from the government. We're here to help, and that's what they're requiring. Everything that I read in the regulations of coming September 1st tell me a 30-day closing for a condo, forget about it. It's just not going to happen. Will it close? They're making it harder, folks. That's going to put pricing pressure on condos. Condo sales are already slow right now. Pricing has already gone down, as you saw, about 22%. This could just be the beginning of the slide as we go through and they try to, to tighten things up and regulate. And this is all based on that big building collapsing in Florida. So it's a mess out there. And I think you're going to see in our market, the impact on that's primarily Scottsdale. That's where the majority of our condos are. And what that's going to result in for a lot of these people is, number you got to watch closely, special assessments and rate increases for the HOA monthly payment. That's what's sneaking up and biting everybody. And then thirdly, insurance. So you've got mortgage interest rates, you got your loan amount, you got your price. The other two items, insurance and HOA payments, those are the ones that can fluctuate greatly. So you've really got to stay on top of that. You find a condo that you like, call your insurance agent. Say, hey, I'm looking at this condo on Hayden, and can you tell me what it would cost to insure it? Find that number out before you write your offer. You might as well find it out then. Most people find it out when they're deep into the transaction. They've already inspected it. They're starting to get an appraisal. And then they get the quote from their insurance agent. And you're like, oh my God, I can't afford this place. So they bail. And we have a lot of cancellations because of that. So do some legwork up front. Sellers, you do the legwork so you can provide your agent all that information. My average insurance cost is this. We don't have any pending special assessments coming up. Yes, my condo association is certified, and yes, they are 15%. So have your agent do the legwork and do some digging before he puts it on the MLS. You'll find that life is a lot easier. You'll have an easier time selling that condo. But for now, it doesn't look good. It didn't fall out very well the first time. I don't see these increases helping anybody anytime soon. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, rick@rickhelps.com. If you want a zip code report, don't forget to use that QR code in the top screen here or the link down below. And if you don't want that, sign up for my newsletter. It comes out every Monday morning at 7 a.m. Thank you. Take care.